It is natural that with Liszt being one of the greatest performers ever, everyone wonders, how did he himself play his sonata? How did he adapt the score to an actual performance? Unfortunately, we do not know much about this. However, there is the score itself, a score that is exceptionally precise and detailed in terms of articulation, phrasing, and tempo indications. On the other hand, there are testimonials by pupils of Liszt who noted what they heard from the master himself. I would like to mention two of them, about whom I'm going to talk more in a while, August Stradal and Arthur Friedheim. However, these testimonials are not entirely coherent. In fact, they show the basic problem that lies in all such testimonials. It is not always evident what goes back to Liszt and what represents the opinion of the pupil. I would like to demonstrate that with two examples. This is the Liszt Pedagogium by Lina Rahman, a very valuable source for the performance practice of Liszt's music. In this book, Lina Rahman presents metronome markings for the sonata given by August Stradal. Stradal was one of the last students of Franz Liszt. He studied with him from late 1884, and he appeared in his master classes in Weimar, Rome, and Budapest, where he played some of Liszt's most difficult works. This here is an edition with notes by another of Liszt's pupils, Arthur Friedheim. Friedheim studied with Liszt from 1880 and later on became his secretary. This edition is a facsimile edition that was published in 2011 by Gerard Carter and Martin Adler and is a wonderful addition to the performance practice of Liszt's sonata. There are numerous metronome markings in it, way more than in the Liszt Pedagogium. So both of these students, Stradal and Friedheim, were somewhat prominent pupils of Liszt and could claim second-hand authenticity in terms of Liszt's intentions. Now let's have a closer look. In this table here, you see metronome markings by Stradal on the left and the corresponding metronome markings by Friedheim on the right. They belong to important passages of the sonata. It is now striking to see how some of these markings are close to each other or even the same, while others are different. The marking for the initial allegro energico shows a relation of almost 1 to 2. That means Friedheim is almost twice as fast as Stradal. Also, the andante sostenuto is quite different. Not as much as the allegro, but still a relation of about 3 to 2, so the other way around. On the other hand, the grandioso is the same and the fugue is almost the same. Now, those are obviously two different tempo concepts. Which one represents Liszt's true intentions? I guess we will never know. But what we can take from an observation like this is a certain cautiousness in terms of the reliability of such indications. They're interesting, no doubt about that. But it would be wrong to believe that they truly represent Liszt's intentions. They may reflect the pupil's reception of Liszt's teachings, but that's it. In terms of Stradal, there are even more questions raising when we have a closer look at his indications. Let's take bar 8 and bar 460. Bar 8 is the beginning of the sonata, where the main theme appears for the first time. Bar 460 is the beginning of the fugue. Now, what can we see when we look at Liszt's score? We see that the movement name is the same. We also see that the time signature is exactly the same. Looking at the musical material, it is also exactly the same. In other words, there are two identical musical textures, with the only difference that bar 8 is the first exposition of the theme in octaves, while bar 460 is the exposition of the fugue. But in terms of tempo indications such as movement name, time signature, as well as fasted note values in the musical material, both are exactly the same. Now, what does Stradal say about the tempo of these two passages? For bar 8, he gives 72 for the quarter note. For bar 460, he gives 80 for the half note, or 160 for the quarter note. That is more than twice as fast as the beginning. So, in other words, these metronome markings are not at all in accordance with Liszt's score. I am pretty sure that if Liszt wanted the fugue to be twice as fast as the beginning, he would have expressed that in one way or another, which is easily to do in music in terms of musical notation. But he did not. How likely is it then for the fugue to be more than twice as fast as the musically identical beginning? I seriously doubt that. In addition, the fugue is a very good example for the music itself requiring certain tempo choices. The theme of the fugue includes triple upbeats, as you can see here. These three notes take the time of 1/16th note. If they're performed at a tempo suggested by Stradal or Friedheim, the execution of these upbeat notes would be so fast that it would resemble more to a cluster than a rhythmically energetic figure. This is why many performers actually do this. In order to create the energetic effect, they slow down the upbeat. It is possible to do that, obviously, but it is not what Liszt wrote. If we take Liszt's score seriously and perform those upbeat notes rhythmically clear, then we have to adjust the tempo of the fugue itself, resulting in a tempo that is quite close to the one at the beginning.